TGC Requiem here. We are back with Kiki Chord League. I need to actually update here. We are 2-1 in this league so far. We're finishing up what we started, I think 5-4 in games. There we go. We are on the draw. This is an interesting hand. It could just be really bad depending on what our opponent has. The walls are decent. Resto's got good value. I think we keep this. I don't know that we can throw it away. So, alright, so I'm going to have some sort of Tron variant. We're definitely going to be trying to lead off with Wall of Roots here. Chord. So we're probably going to have to hard cast Kiki if we want to win. Didn't need to fetch there. Getting a little greedy. Ooh, blue Tron. Okay, so this actually changes things quite a bit. They're not racing into Tron, so we're not necessarily as worried about racing them. I'm going to try and fire off this Wall of Roots first. Try and get a little rampage action going. Probably get repealed next turn. Okay, so he is starting to make a move towards Tron, so we may actually try to make a move towards comboing. So if we play a Thicket, we could Restoration Angel on our opponent's end step, which I actually like. If they counter here, we'll just go get a Wall of Omens. So since we can use Wall of Roots ability on each turn, we could use both of these plus the 2 lands here to flash in a Restoration Angel, and then on the next turn we can attempt to go for a Kiki-Jiki. But I mean, that's obviously, you know, depending upon what our opponent does on their turn. Obviously, the worst thing our opponent could do is Ugin us here. We could also try to... We could actually chord for 6 right now, so if we wanted to try and chord for an Eternal Witness, or chord for 3 rather, we actually could chord for Fulminator Mage. I think we're just going to run out the Restoration Angel here. It's going to get countered, but that allows us to use Chord for whatever we want to use next turn, or do next turn. That would allow us to go get a Fulminator Mage to blow up the tower, for example. Voice of Resurgence could be good, although yeah, I don't know that there's really or we could just naturally draw a Fulminator Mage and play Wall of Omens. Would have liked to have gotten a land there. Oops. And if we go back and look, Urza's Tower was the last one he played. And next turn we still can Chord for 2. So we will probably try to end step Chord for do we want to Chord for Voice of Resurgence? Or Eternal Witness? So opponent's going to Thirst for Knowledge. He's already thrown away a Mindslaver, so I think we're going to Birds of Paradise. Or actually Scavenging Ooze and eat the Mindslaver. I don't believe... Alrighty. We're actually in a position where if he has to actively do something on his turn, we could right now go for a Restoration Angel. 5, 6, 7. No, we can't. We're going to lose the Wall of Roots. One, two, three, four, five, six. We could go for a Fulminator Mage, however. Or we could get Eternal Witness to return the Fulminator Mage. Or the Restoration Angel. What do we do while he doesn't have the mana? So we're going to go to Calling here. We're probably just getting Eternal Witness, and then we'll return Restoration or Fulminator Mage, and this is fine. We get him to totally tap out now, and then we get to Kiki. And we still... Okay, so we actually can win right here, I believe. Let me just quick do the math. We can tap out for... No, we're just shy, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's think about it. If we Eldritch Evolution... I mean, we can Eldritch Evolution for a... Restoration Angel. But if we do that, we won't have the mana for Kiki. I still think we're kind of on a Kiki the next turn anyway plan. So we're gonna... I'm kind of taking a bit of time here, but I'm going to sacrifice the Wall of Roots to get a Restoration Angel. We'll pop the other Wall of Roots. Now we still have the mana to cast Kiki-Jiki next turn if we needed to. And we still have mana to eat a card if our opponent tries to snapcast one of the cards in the graveyard. Sure. And I think we just kind of have to go for the Kiki-Jiki here. If he counters anything, we'll get a big Voice of Resurgence token. If he doesn't, we win the game. But we're really not in a position to be able to fight this Wurmcoil very effectively. I mean, we're an Eternal Witness away from Returning Chord, which could go get us so Condescend, which is fine. Yep. He's going to get to Scry 2 here. See what our opponent does. For opponent attacks, we're definitely... Alright, so it puts one on the bottom and puts one on top. Probably eating that Wall of Roots. I don't think we're going to need that. That still gives us the ability to eat something from his graveyard if he were to Snapcaster on his turn. If he attacks with the Wurmcoil Engine, we'll block with Voice of Resurgence. That's going to leave us with a lot of power to crack back with. Yeah, so this is not terribly surprising. Still, we could be looking at, what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Should he attack with the Wurmcoil? Six, 7, 8. I think for the moment I would prefer to hold the Voice to prevent him from looking for a meta cost. So he's going to go get his other copy of Mindslaver, presumably. Oh, he's got another Wurmcoil. So now that clock is a little bigger than we were thinking it would be. We don't have the Reclamation Sage in the main deck. Getting a little bit slow down here. Trying to think what the best possible draw we have is. If we can get Eternal Witness, we can return Kiki. Okay, so he's gonna kill the Scavenging Ooze in response. Nothing we can do to that. So Selfless Spirit's okay. We can use it as a blocker and sacrifice to keep our creatures alive. So if he were to attack with both, we could block with a voice, block with this. He's going to gain 6 up to 22. We'd be attacking back with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 power. It's a decent card, not great. Shuts down his Snapcaster mages. He doesn't have a whole lot of cards to do much with right now anyway. Looks like he's going to try and Snapcaster right now, yep. I'm thinking spatial okay, he's going to actually just condescend this. It's going to give him another scry. And we can, yeah. Cannot pay for that. So what we're going to do here, we're going to block with Selfless Spirit and the Elemental, and then sacrifice the Elemental. Or sacrifice the Spirit. Fortunately, that still is not going to leave the elemental with enough power. That's what we needed the Eidolon of Rhetoric for. Platinum Angel. So he may not even double attack here now. It would have been nice to be able to Wall of Roots and then remove both of those counters. Not something I considered. Could have held back Restoration Angel and the Elemental and then sacrificed. So he will only gain 6 life, but we're still looking like we're in trouble here. Pia and Kieran is decent, but does give us a way to potentially kill the Platinum Angel. If we can sack the 2 artifacts. We may be at a point where we want to start trading. I'm going to get another counter spell here. Our opponent is down to... Talk about a long, grindy game here. Opponent puts 1 on the bottom, 1 on the top. So we're not actually going to be attacking here. We're going to need to start trading off, but man, that Death Touch. So we're just going to concede here. We actually don't have... I mean, we have to chump block. And if we're going to chump block to trade... Well... Suppose we can just do this for now. We're still like 2 turns away from an Eternal Witness, returning Kiki-Jiki, casting Kiki-Jiki. Alright, if he gets a Mindslaver here, we're probably just gonna concede. We definitely don't have enough time to deal with a Mindslaver. Gear Hulk. You know what, we're just going to concede. So he can Torrential Gear Hulk here, right here, and just counter this. We got to save some time if we're going to beat him in 2 more games, which seems pretty much impossible with 8 minutes. So down 0-1 to Blue Tron. Slaughter games we could consider. Reclamation Sage, definitely. I think Fulminator Mage is worth it. Stony Silence. Path to Exile. Surgical Extraction. He does have to discard some cards. With his, whatever you call it. I don't think we want to bring in all the slaughter games and or surgical extractions, though. I'm just taking a peek here. Collective Brutality potentially is a way to drain him out. The question is, what do we not need here? I mean, honestly, we definitely don't need these. The paths are nice. I can't imagine wanting... we definitely want to make sure we have some power. Collective Brutality could be okay, but again, it's so easy for them to just counter it. I think we're going to have a little bit of struggle with Chord. I'm going to cut down one Chord. Revelarks should be good here. Pia and Kieran is okay. Slaughter games. I think we just want one slaughter games. We don't need it. This is tough. I think we're just going to cut a Wall of Omens. I think we are going to cut back on one of the paths. And we're just going to run with that. Definitely do not know that I've got the right mix of cards here. Do you plan to try and grind into a... You're probably trying really hard to just Fulminator Mage their lands and keep them on basics, possibly. I mean, I've never played this particular matchup. Oh, this is just not great. At least we have the Fulminator Mage. We have the way to cast Fulminator Mage on curve. I think we got to keep this. I do think maybe the way you win this is to just Fulminator Mage away their lands. And actually, Surgical Extraction would have been good in conjunction with Fulminator Mage. Probably an oversight there. We're going to play a little loose here because we are going to run out of time otherwise. So the hope here is just to bait the opponent. That's fine, I guess we have to deal with that. But to try and bait them into using a spell, one of their counter spells that would allow us to use a creature next turn. or get a creature down next turn. That did not work out. So if we can actually get a threat in the next couple turns, you know, at least we've run them kind of low on cards, but we're looking pretty far behind here. Yeah, I mean, when I think about, and obviously Kasali Pride Mage, and I mean, we don't really have any early threats. I mean, Voice of Resurgence is about the closest thing to a turn 2 threat we have, and even that's just hitting for 2. It does protect us a little bit on our turn. Maybe we need to try and mulligan to a hand with, you know, with Kasali Pride Mage or Scavenging Ooze or Voice of Resurgence. Definitely think mistake probably to not bring in the Surgical Extraction. Probably actually better to have Surgical Extraction than the Slaughter Games. Oh, he's got the pretty Solemns. We could have tried to end of turn Court of Calling for a voice there, but I don't know. So we do have a path for the opponent's Wormcoil Engine. So, I don't know, can we chord for... I suppose we chord for 3 here. There's not a whole lot more to do. I mean, we're just kind of... we're pretty much boned in this matchup. Torrential Gearhulk's a nice pickup for them. Really looking for almost a fetch land here. And sadly, I mean, we can path the Gearhulk, but it doesn't help us with our problem of the Wormcoil Engine. Well, I mean, I guess we can hope to peel another path the next turn, which in this case we should have just path the Gearhulk last turn. We definitely didn't have a counterspell. There is no point in blocking here. Restoration Angel at least would give us some value with Renegade. Rallier. And no, I suppose we're still not dead. Raging Ravine can effectively block. Still need a Restoration Angel here just to stay alive. I don't think this does anything for us. Yeah, that's game. Alright, so I mean, we basically just got our behind handed to us. Part of that's not knowing the matchup very well. I mean, I've played against the Mono Blue Tron, and I know how the deck kind of works, but I definitely don't have enough knowledge with the particular deck I'm playing to be able to confidently state that this is what I need to be doing in each of these situations. I'm not quite sure what happened here. I'm supposed to have one match left in the league, but maybe it screwed up and therefore gave me some event tickets. I know there were some issues with the league. If so, this will be the last video with Kiki Chord. Not to say that I won't come back to it, but I'm gonna do a couple other decks next. So hopefully you enjoyed.